You know how when a man starts a business and the woman see that the man has a business, you can have an empire. And in her jealousy, she goes, "How's your little business? I heard you have a little business." Joy Reid responded to Trump's victory at the Iowa caucuses Monday by condemning white Christians. Watch this from MSNBC.
We must remark upon the absolute tragedy of Ron DeSantis.
What's on
This
her head?
man torched the state of Florida's education system
What's on
by
her
turning
head?
it into a grand apologist for slavery. These are white Christians. Iowa is about 61% white Christian. The country as a whole is approximately 41% white Christian. They see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country, and Trump has promised to give it back to them.
What's on a black female with white people hair? Is that what that is? It looked like it didn't even come all the way down on the head. Look like, are you sure that's not a hat? It didn't even come all the way down. She forgot to pull it down because you kind of see that nappy hair under there. Was that a Trump wig? What the? It looked like, I don't know now, but looked like Joy Reid want to be Trump. She put on his hair. And just jealous of Christianity? What an evil female. The best religion on this side of heaven. And she's jealous because Satan is her daddy. Let me take Ben. He's been waiting a long time. Hey, Ben from Colorado. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Hey, is this the Dan Crenshaw show?
Also, check out our merch. Amazing merch. Big Mama Michelle. Gavin Newsom went over to China, and he had a hootenanny every time. He felt like the president. He felt like he was representing America. And they showed him the wall, the little animals walking up and down the streets. And he felt good. And so he said to the so-called president of China, y'all come on over to my house. I mean, his city, San Francisco, a mess. Drug addicts, homeless people, everything, dirty street, crime, carjacking, beating up white people. And the people like, Gavin, won't you clean it up? Why can't you clean it up? Oh, I will. Don't worry about it. Years go by. Don't worry. Y'all just keep voting me in. I'll get to it. Check this out from X. They say, what's beeping? And they have these two black females in the cockpit. And they're like, we ain't hear no beeping. We ain't hear. They're in the cockpit, right? They're headed toward the ground now. You see that? The plane going down. And it's beep, 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 beep. I don't hear no beeping. So I was on the airplane. We get on the airplane, sitting there waiting for them to close the door, let people in, close the door. And lo and behold, a black female pilot came out of the little cockpit thing, standing there at the door, talking with the stewardess. So when the flight attendant came by down the aisle, I said, do we have a black female pilot? She's like, yes. I'm like, what the? And she was like, what's wrong with that? I'm like, you know, female can't fly no airplane.
Woozy Rumble Rant. This just in, Get a Job is back on YouTube.
I heard, right on. Get a Job is back. Welcome back, Get a Job. We miss you. Amazing.
Jesse, do you think black people were enslaved in this country?
Yes, they say they were, but they were better off then than they are today.
Why were they better off?
Because they were decent blacks. They worked. They had
You
families.
mean worked? Because if they didn't work, they would be killed, or they have like their hand cut off, or they'd be raped or branded or sold.
No, that's not
or
why.
they have to engage in mandingo fighting or some terrible thing that
You've
happened.
been watching too many movies.
No, I am not just talking about
And no
watching too many
mandingo.
movies.
Mandingo is not real.
The point is, Jesse,
What?
is
the-
that basically you're signed up for the oppression of black people. Is,
What do you
is
mean?
where you stand.
I want
Yeah, I
I
mean-
want the blacks to be free. I want them to stop begging and blaming and take responsibility. Stop identifying as a group, but as an individual.
You're not going to solve anything on an individual basis. But my question
You're not
is,
going to
so do
solve it
you
until
think-
you go
so
to
do you think,
individuality.
Jesse, do you think that white people as a group in this country never harmed black people with slavery
You
or
can't
with
find
lynching?
you can't find one white person living today that ever harmed one black person in slavery. Not one. White people are not responsible for what happened way back then, as the blacks are not responsible for what
No, the
happened way back
country is
then.
responsible
It's-
for the economic benefits and the grifting that happened to
But
black
we're
people.
giving the blacks everything they begged for. They
No,
still not
they're
happy.
not. No,
they
that is
asked
so not true.
they asked for welfare. We gave them welfare. They asked to go
Most
to
people on welfare are white.
because there are more white people. They asked to go
Yes.
to white schools. We let them into the white schools. They asked to go to the white cafe. We let them into the white cafe.
Okay, I have a fundamental
They
question for
even
you,
asked for
Jesse.
the white woman. We gave them the white women, and they still not satisfied. Ain't nothing else to give.
I disagree with almost everything that you say, but
They didn't ask for the white woman. Amazing. Jessica, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
How do you feel, not just as a man, but as a pastor, about men in long-term relationships with porn addictions?
A man should never let a woman know about those kinds of things because women can't handle it and there's nothing they can do about it anyway. And so you didn't know about that until he told you?
Yeah.
And when you didn't know about it, it wasn't even a concern for you?
What if my preference is I don't want men with those kinds of addictions?
But if you never asked, you would never know about it. So it wouldn't bother you if you didn't know about it.
But, okay, so, but do you think it's wrong to have that sort of addiction?
It's neither wrong or right. It's something that they have to overcome by overcoming the spirit of their mothers. It's no different than using any kind of a drug. It's no different than using fentanyl or smoking pot or drinking or anything. It's just another form of trying to make yourself feel better.
Like just emotionally, like I feel like he wouldn't truly be there for me whenever I really needed him. I feel like I've always been there for him when he's needed me.
By being supportive of his emotions, you're encouraging him to be weak. And then when he's weak, you hate him for being weak.
Yeah, and so I actually think that's very spot on.
There's nothing that an emotional man can do for you at all because he is a woman.
Mm.
You have a lesbian relationship. Lesbian!
You're so right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. So
I
one
know,
last question.
that's why I want you to focus on you now. It's time for you to overcome the father state by returning to the Father. Salvation is about returning to the Father. I'm walking through the airport here at L.A., and lo and behold, there's this woman with two children, a girl and a boy. The boy looked younger than the girl. And guess what? She had him on a leash. Can you imagine putting your child on a leash? The boy was trying to walk away and she snatched him back on the leash. Taking the dogs off the leash and putting the children on a leash. I have with me Dr. William James. He's an educator from New York and the author of Black Supremacy. How many degrees do you have?
5.
You have 5 degrees?
5.
Wow, you're educated up to yang. Why do you have so many degrees?
I think education is the true answer to liberation.
So you think education is the key to freedom, you say?
Right.
Freedom of what?
Freedom from oppression.
What is oppression?
Was what black people went through during slavery or during Jim Crow. That's unfair treatment.
Oh, and so an education would free them from that?
Right.
Amazing. And so you're free mentally?
Right, mentally and physically.
Do the white folks oppress you?
I mean, they try.
By doing what?
They don't want me to teach the truth, like I have in this book.
And so you be trying to teach black supremacy in the classroom?
Yes.
And so if blacks are supreme, why they keep chasing white people and accusing them and asking for affirmative action and reparations and telling the white people, we want to be a part of your schools, we want to be a part of your everything, but you're going to have to lower the standards so that we don't have to worry about passing the test to get in and all that. Why don't black people go and just do their own thing rather than chasing white people if they are black supremacy?
Black people who follow the teachings of their ancestors that allowed them to be successful in the face of oppression, those are the supreme black people.
Who are the supreme blacks?
Frederick Douglass.
And where is Frederick now?
He's dead.
I rest my case.
Benjamin
I'm
Banneker.
talking about now. What's wrong with the blacks that they are constantly complaining about the white man? Right now they're out of control as far as snatch and grab and robbing and stealing and raping and killing. If they're superior, why are they doing those things?
Those aren't the superior blacks.
Ooh, those are the inferior ones?
Yes, the ones who
and
do
why
stuff
don't
like
the
that.
superior one help the inferior one?
We try.
How?
Like how I do it. I educate black youth. None of my students would ever do anything like that.
Oh, they wouldn't?
No,
Amazing. If they're superior, why were they trying to force their way into the white schools?
because they didn't know that they were superior.
Oh, you could be superior and not know it?
Yes,
Why were they so dumb that they didn't know they were
they
superior?
weren't dumb. They were just ignorant.
Define superior for me.
Exceptionally greater than.
Exceptionally greater than.
Right.
And so the blacks were exceptionally greater than the whites?
Historically speaking, no group of people,
How could they be superior and didn't know it?
because many don't know the truth. God has a chosen people. I know that I'm a part of those chosen people. If more black people knew that, then they would carry themselves like it.
But why didn't they know it then?
They were ignorant.
But why though? If you're superior,
Systemic racism.
if you're smarter than the white
Systemic
people,
racism. During the 1940s and 50s, we still had black people in slavery.
But
One of
I'm
the
black
black
and I'm
people-
slow. I'm one of those slow and didn't
You're
know
not
I was
slow.
superior. But how can you be superior than everybody else and not know it?
May Louise Miller. She was a slave in the 1950s and didn't even know that slavery had been abolished.
But I'm asking you, how can you be superior and not know it? Here you are fighting, trying to get into the white man's schools and to their businesses because you think you can see that their stuff is better than yours, right? But if you're superior, wouldn't you like naturally do superior things?
We do naturally do superior things.
Like break into white people's business?
No, like run the fastest, jump the highest, things like that. If you run faster than everyone else, you're superior. No race of people have been oppressed like black people. So when it comes to resilience and innovativeness, black people are superior. Name a group of people who have been oppressed more than black people, then name a group of people who have made more inventions than black people.
The white people.
Really?
Yeah.
When were they oppressed more than us?
Right now.
When were they oppressed more than us?
Right now, the black people have been blaming them, taking their stuff, calling them racist,
That's not true.
beating their children, calling it knockout games.
That's not true.
Robbing and raping their homes.
That's not
taking
true.
their purses on the streets.
That's not
telling
true.
them if you disagree, you're a racist.
That's not
And
true.
You don't know all that's happening? You got all those degrees, and you don't know that the things I just named are happening to white
The
people?
stuff you're-
What the? So say yes or no to me. Black people are superior to all other races, right?
Yes.
But they don't know it.
Right. If you
And
don't
who
know,
gave them that superiority?
it's God.
Who?
God.
The Israelite God.
Yahweh.
Who?
Yahweh.
The hour?
Yahweh.
Who is Yahweh?
God. That's his name.
What the? You talked about Jim Crow law, right?
Right.
And were blacks suppressed during Jim Crow law?
Yes.
And were they superior to the whites during that time too?
Yes.
But they didn't know it.
No.
They had this hidden superiority and didn't know it.
Right.
Amazing. And so if blacks were suppressed during Jim Crow law, why were they doing better then than they are today?
Systemic racism.
Well, how is that superior to anybody?
We're superior because we have been oppressed the most, so our resilience is superior. That's what makes us
That
superior.
doesn't even make sense.
It does. If you can make the most significant contributions in the face of oppression, that shows some superiority.
Who destroyed the black family?
Systemic racism.
Who?
Who? White supremacists.
White supremacy destroyed the black family?
Right. Systemic
They
racism.
made black men leave their homes?
They locked black men up, yes.
Did they make black men leave their home for the welfare check?
Yes.
They made them do it.
They didn't make them do it. It rewarded black women who kicked black men out the house.
Right. And so is the black woman superior too?
Yes.
If black women are superior, why did they choose to accept the welfare check over the husband?
You're twisting it. They're
What do you mean?
superior when they operate with the actions that their ancestors operated with.
Right, but their ancestors, at that time, they were not getting a welfare check. They were getting husbands, right?
Exactly.
And so if they were superior, why did they choose the welfare check over the husband?
Ignorance.
So the superior
Exactly.
woman was ignorant.
Exactly.
She didn't know she was superior.
You're not going to act in a way that allows you to be superior when you're ignorant.
You got all those degrees and this makes sense to you.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
I grew up under the Jim Crow law, you know that, right?
Yes.
Down in Alabama, right?
You're 74,
And everything that they tell you about that is a lie. Black people were better off. They didn't hate the white man. They had families. They went to black schools and they were thriving. They would go to black colleges. They were quite satisfied with that. They would come back as teachers and professors. And they would get married. They would teach their children to work and think and be for themselves.
That's not
They
true.
treated other people the way they would like to be treated, never mind the color. They didn't let you play with bad black children or bad white children. They loved all people. They didn't hate anyone. It wasn't until the civil rights movement started that they told them, y'all need more. And the black people started, oh yeah, we do need more. Did you know that there were, I think, something like 4,000 blacks who owned slaves?
4,000 blacks who owned slaves?
You didn't know that,
No,
huh?
what's the source?
All your little black supremacy book, you didn't look that up.
No. What source is that?
Let's do this. We'll
That's
get it
a
for you
lie.
and put it up there. Why don't black people just kind of move on with their lives and stop this mess that they're into? If they're superior, why don't they somehow or another let their little superior stuff kick in? What point will they say, you know what, we had enough complaining and being victims and talking about this mess. Let's show everybody what we can do. Why don't they forget about the past and live in the present?
Well, the past affects the present.
Not if you don't live in it.
There's no way to get around it. It does.
Yes, there's a way to get
The
around
past
it.
is still in the present.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Only in your mind,
no,
only.
No. And
Yeah.
when we talk about systemic racism, do you know that in 2015?
You believe that racism exists?
Yes.
And what is racism?
Racism is the unfair treatment of one group of people based on their race, or the belief that one group of people is inferior solely based off their race.
Are you a racist for believing that black people are superior to all other races, you said?
No, I'm not racist.
So racism is a belief that one race is superior to another, right?
Solely based on race.
If white people think they're better because they do better than black people, they see that they're smarter, they're more innovative.
They're not smarter.
They're
not more innovative.
They're less to blame others and carry on.
No, they're
Does that
not.
make them superior to the blacks?
Nothing you said was true.
Does that make them superior,
No, it
racist to
doesn't.
the black because they do more?
They don't do more.
They
What
do more.
What do you mean they do more?
They're keeping the country going while black people are chasing them, trying to get it and destroying it.
Prove that.
Who killed other blacks the most?
Blacks.
Who turned nice neighborhoods into hoods?
Hood people.
Who are those hood people?
Hoodlums.
I'm giving you a hint.
Who? Which people are those?
Are you a Democrat?
No.
You Republican now?
No.
And how do you vote?
I vote based off of knowledge, and I do my due diligence. I study to see which group, which person will do the most for black people.
That's another sign of inferiority.
What's that?
You vote for those who are going to do the most for black people.
Right.
Right? If black people are so superior, why can't they do most for themselves?
In a system?
If black people are superior,
Right.
why do you even consider voting for somebody that's going to do something for the blacks?
I would, because that's what makes sense if I'm black.
But why, if they're superior, why they got to have somebody do something for them?
Because we grew up in a system.
And
black
you do
people-
vote sometimes.
Sometimes.
And you only vote when they're going to do something for the blacks.
Specifically, only for blacks.
The superior
Don't-
people. Should we still give the blacks reparations?
Yes.
We should give the black.
Yes.
We should give the black supremacies, the superior people, smarter than everybody else, we should give them reparation. Amazing. At what point will the blacks stop begging and blaming?
Begging?
And blaming.
Who's begging?
The blacks.
When you give it to us?
And what is it that you want?
I want reparations. I want my money.
And how much do you want?
You could give me 300,000 to $1 million.
You personally want 300,000 to $1 million
Yes.
of your reparation money.
Right.
And what did you do to earn that money?
I was born.
The hot seat.
What is a man?
An adult human male.
True or false, giving a woman the right to vote was a big mistake.
False.
What?
They should have the right to vote, so that's false.
Women should have the right to vote?
Yes.
Amazing. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Thank you for coming, man.
We need to do this again.
How come?
A woman from Atmore is living her dream, representing the state of Alabama in the National American Miss Program. WKRG News 5 Summer Pool introduces us to this inspiring young woman.
A crowning achievement, 8 years in the making. Sarah Milliken of Atmore has competed in the National American Miss Program since she was 15.
I competed once as a junior teen when I was 15, again as a teen when I was 16. And not placing, that was really, really hard.
Now at 23, the famous saying rings true, third time's a charm.
Just being able to come back 8 years later and say, okay, I didn't give up on this dream, and now, because I didn't give up on it, I get to be the next Miss Alabama.
Look like she ate Alabama. No.
Yeah, I don't think about her.
And she walking down the aisle alone so tired. How long is the runway?
She sweat.
She like, could you cut the runway in half?
Can you give me one of those carts?
Oh.
I don't have a YouTube. He's just playing YouTube.
And you say, Hassan?
Well, being fat is not common courtesy. It's honestly rude, and women specifically, you know, you can't be fat. So I don't know if that's the question, but it's not common courtesy to be overweight.
Savage. King Cole. Savage. Beta. Savage. Savage. Beta. Savage. 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 Beta.
Beza.
Lesbians.
You don't eat
Get
pork?
drunk? No, I do not eat pork.
Not even with egg and bacon bites?
I don't eat pork.
Man, you missing it.
So
You used to eat pork,
You eat
right?
pork? You eat
got some
pork.
bacon with
the
you?
Bible says to not eat pork. The Levitical law says you shouldn't eat pork.
Amazing. I don't pay
So
no
you
attention to
breaking
that
the
law.
laws.
I break that one every
See?
day.
And so John Burroughs is another writer. I think he expired in maybe like 1920, 1921, so he wrote around that time period.
He did.